Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 319, and today we're doing battle in a Singleton Daily Rumble. And so, if you followed along with the channel, I am a pretty big supporter of Aatrox. I feel like Aatrox is probably the way that we're going to be going when the Runeterra Open turns up, but I think we should explore some other decks before we actually go out there and get there. And so, the thing that comes to mind to me is whenever a new format comes out, the aggro decks are just always really good, right? At the beginning of the format, it's much easier to just jam a bunch of Legion Rearguards into a deck than it is to fine-tune the numbers, figure out what removal that you need, what removal you don't, how much card draw you need, and all those kind of deck-building decisions that go into playing things like Seraphine or Aphelios or whatever slow, dumb control deck that you might have in mind. And so I did want to come in and give the aggro a bit of a go. As it should be good. My concern with playing aggro in a format like Singleton is the density of good cards just isn't there. And so as in constructed to where you can play 3 copies of Legion Rearguard, and if you're, say, playing Pirates, you can get up to 10, 11, 12 really good 1-drops. It's a little bit harder to do in Singleton, and you have to decide if you want to play some lower quality cards just to fill out the curve on the early end, or if you need to kind of abandon that and go a little bit more mid-rangey so that you can keep your card quality up. And so the way I'm looking to approach the deck today is we are playing Noxus, Shadow Isles, and Freljord. I like a lot of what we get out of these factions. And so at its core, I would describe this as more of a Gwen Sejuani kind of deck. We're playing all of the early game Hallowed units. We're playing the Gwen. And so we have a pretty decent Hallowed package. And then if you're used to the blue Gwen from formats of past, those Hallowed bonuses can be used with overwhelm units to come in and make some pretty big and damaging attacks. But my main reason for wanting to play the Hallowed mechanic is because it helps make up for some of our bad card quality. And so if we are trying to come out here and aggro with the likes of Omen Hawk and Hapless Aristocrat, that's not really the strongest aggro package that you could be coming out with. But if you're able to consistently give those units a couple of points of damage along the way, then they can become a little bit better in the aggro game. And so that's the kind of idea as to what we're doing. We have Annie and Elise as good early game champions, Gwen to tie into Hallowed, Darius and Sejuani for those late game overwhelms. In terms of the spells, I'm trying to either just keep things very efficient. That's why you're going to see things like Ravenous Flock and Quietus and Vile Feast, or have it just be a really high impact spell. And so we do get to play cards like Spirits Unleashed. Shunpo and Katarina do the Red Gwen kind of things with the Hallowed units, and I'm looking to just kind of stay away from pretty low impact stuff. And then down in the units, we've managed to assemble a fine crew of 9 or so 1-drops, and then after those 9 or so 1-drops, we're looking to move just more into the overwhelms. And so in the 2-drop space, we've got the Ruthless Raider Tusk-Speaker, and then moving on up the curve into the Ruined Reckoners, the Fallen Reckoners, and the Ancient Yetis of the world. And so that's the deck. That's what we're going to be doing battle with today. Let's go ahead and enter the gauntlet, see if we can't find the Singleton Whelm deck. Very whelming, if you will. Jump on into battle. See if we can't spike a game or two. Okay, so looks like some kind of dumb deck, right? It's got it's got Seraphine in it, and so you're like, that's just a dumb deck right there. But we'll see what turns up. At least not playing like Aphelios and stuff in here, right? Maybe Francism 10 is looking to have at least a little bit of fun today. All right, reasonable enough start. We got some 1-drops. We got some Ancient Yeti in here. Oh boy, one of our favorites coming in early and aggressive, trying to hit at us with that Hexite Crystal. And so we'll see if that comes to fruition this game. I hate that card so much. I really hope this dumb thing just gets rotated. But in terms of the way the game's going, I don't want to block the Fallen Feline. The opponent is just never going to kill us with damage. If we're getting to the point to where the opponent's killing us with damage, then we've probably already lost the game anyways. So I just want to get this one extra point out of the Legion Saboteur as it attacks into the Fallen Feline. Come on, bud. We got a kitty wanting to hang out. He knows what's up. Oh, bonked his head. He's okay, don't worry. He's a real bruiser of a kitty. Here you go. It's been a while since he's been here. Says, what up, internet? The void is here. He's the reason. If you hear me about putting the kitties on a weight loss plan, he's it. He's the he's the reason the weight needs to be lost, and so he's adjusting. Poor guy. Who knew life could be so hard for a kitty? All right, let's see what we can do here. We're going to go ahead and drop the Ancient Yeti. He should be pretty tough for this opposing deck to deal with, at least in terms of their removal. All of the removal out of P and Z and Noxus should be damage based, so it's not to say he won't have a stun or a recall or something for it, but the majority of his removals aren't going to be particularly strong. All right. Chunking in for a pretty reasonable bit of damage. Now we've got the Decimate in hand, so we only need to deal 5 more. See how fast this guy hits lifesteal. You see these decks come up, and if like your normal level of complaining is gonna be at like a 3, you know, I tend to keep the complaining to a minimum. At least I think. Then you see a deck like this come up, you know it's just going to hit up at least a 7 or an 8 or so. You really gotta get it in there while you can. But let's see what we can do. Gwen's a pretty strong ad. We have the 3 sisters in hand, so if he wants to, say, block our Ancient Yeti with Victor, we can look to entomb the Victor so that we get the full amount of damage in. Or as it looks like we'll probably be doing here, just dropping a Stun Spider onto him. If we drop the Stun Spider, we still have the mana to play most of the modes of the 3 sisters. Interesting. Bird. All right, let's get it in. And so again, we just need to get our opponent down to 4, right? We've got the Decimate in hand. We don't have to work too hard to get us there. And with him playing a Victor boost, I would suspect he's just digging for lifesteal. This is a pretty painful spot for him, I would imagine. All right, he's completely tapped out. Looking good now. Looking good now. So we've got... He just gives up on... Oh, his Victor's just dead. His Victor was stunned. Whoops. I was going to say, I was still envisioning Victor coming in for a block, and I was like, well, even if he blocks our biggest unit, we can still get the +3 attack with the 3 sisters. And we got him good. GG, my friend. Let's mark it a W for bust. All right. Next battle. See if we can't unlock some more of these trophies. We're already at 250 out of 250, but, you know, I feel like it should go over. Say, look how special I am, internet. I got so many trophies. I think that's what it should do. I'm never wrong, and so you know it's good stuff right there. What do we got here? This is looking like ramp. Now, this is the kind of thing I was looking to consider to bring to the table for a video like this. I wanted to see if we couldn't just chain together a big ramp deck, because you have a bit of extra time in this format, right? It's not a particularly aggressive one, and so getting to play 6 or 7 kind of inconsistent ramp spells in a format that's already kind of slow had me considering, you know, I could just play Feel the Rush in this deck if we wanted to. I probably should play something like Feel the Rush or the Harrowing, but it's not entirely there. So I think we're good to just drop the unit, right? This is the kind of space to where if we take the 2 bank, then next turn we can play the Spirits Unleashed. But if opponent's not going to come out and do anything here, then we should be able to just get in more damage here right from the start. I'd prefer to get a little bit of value out of the Spirits Unleashed if we can. But it will just depend on what turns up. How do we feel about Gwen now? Like, I think it's okay. It just it doesn't feel good playing the Spirits Unleashed to only get +1/+1s on your units. Okay. Rip Gwen. You tried hard. You tried hard. And since she got obliterated, we don't get the Hallowed bonus off of her. A bit of sadness right there, but power forward, power on. Look at this. We got our big combos now, right? We got the Elise. We got the Spirits Unleashed. All the Spiderlings summoned off of Elise are going to have those bonus stats. Feels good, man. Feels good. Oh. That feels less good. We could have protected our Ruthless Raider, perhaps, but... it's okay. It's okay. I think kind of an awkward board. Like, we're not finding any good targets for these removals. Darius. Sure. And it's like, I don't want to just play Sejuani into nothing. The Ruined Reckoner doesn't have any great targets here. I think this is fine. We're punching in for 5 damage off of this one. Right, our Spirits Unleashed makes the spiders a little better. Oh, even Hallowed. Even got a Hallowed. Getting real close. Sejuani's about to flip as well. Always nice. We're not going to let that thing block. Get that nonsense out of here. We probably ought to just start with Quietus, though, right? Let's see where that gets us. Can we just win the game this turn? How clever do we need to come out here and be? Okay, he's taken down our Elise. I was gonna say if the Elise stayed up, we could have Ruined Reckonered her. Ruined Reckoner for the attack and got a lethal. Alright, so I'm going to open attack next turn. The question is going to be, do we want the damage on the Spiderling or the Sejuani? And probably just the Spiderling, right? It does leave us in a space to where if he tries to kill our Sejuani, then we can get the extra stats on the smaller unit. Wasn't anticipating Grasp of the Undying coming in, but we have a minor counterspell to get it out of the way. Now that opponent's tapped out, we'll kill him with the Ruined Reckoner. GG. Well played. Happy times for Roll Bust.
I was forged by winter.
Alright. Here we go. Rip. W has been marked. GG. Alright, next battle. So I got something real important to talk about. This came up over the past week, had me really upset. And so I'll often talk about, I'm not certain who makes the best food in the world. It's either the people from Thailand or the people from Mexico. It's a tough battle, you know, depending on what day of the week you talk to me on. Either one could be on top. And so what you get a lot of coming out of Mexican cuisine is going to be stuff flavored with like some heat from jalapenos along with lime. And so you'll get your cilantro lime kind of stuff. Whatever, it's a thing. And so I got some chips. I'm going to go ahead and name and shame, right? They were from Ruffles. It was called like jalapeno lime, which, you know, should be pretty straightforward in what that flavor is going to be. It's going to taste like spicy lime or some shit, you know, just like a taco flavor or something. And oh man, they were the worst. They were the absolute literal worst chip I've ever had in my life. And I really felt the need to tell the world that these chips were shitty. So if you if you go out there and make a mistake on your own in terms of hey, I'm in the chip aisle, what should I purchase today? Maybe I'll come out and get some of these jalapeno lime chips. Just don't do it. They're fucking terrible. And you can say later on, you say, Bust, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. This is the reason I like, follow, and subscribe your channel, because you're giving me the real knowledge out here. if I wanna see some high quality Legends of Runeterra gameplay, I'll go somewhere else. But if I want to get the real knowledge, I'm coming to you, bro. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. That's why you're here. All right, so not a bad board here. I assume he's going to take down both of our 3 attack units. All right, he leaves Legion Rearguard up, sure. And we got a nice little combat. And so one of the interesting things you can look to do here is put the +2 attack and overwhelm onto Annie. And so as she grows and makes that unit go away or spike away, then she has the potential to get in some good damage there. But I suspect what we would actually be looking more towards here is going to be a stance swap to deal damage into a Ravenous Flock. We'll see how things go. I think we're okay just to pass on this board for the moment. And use that to kind of decide what we want to do into this next round. Well, if he's not going to be blocking, let's go ahead and drop our Yeti. Spirits Unleashed, absolutely. We're playing that card too, my man. So we got 10 damage on board. I would like to assume that he has a way to stop this if he's gonna if he's gonna make plays like that. But we'll see. Now that we picked up the Ruined Reckoner, he gives us a little bit more flexibility in how this turn's going to go. So we're hitting for 5. We can still lethal. Oh, we're short on the mana though. So how do we want to go about this? I don't want to get over invested in this Ancient Yeti. Maybe we just 3-bank it. Oh, he just gives up on it. Even easier. Even easier. GG. Well played. Alright, next battle. Send that dude some jalapeno lime chips. See how he enjoys that. So what do we got? Feels like something similar here, right? Freljord, like a little Gangplank Sejuani plus Bandle City. Okay. We probably have a fairly similar collection of cards here, but nice start with the Pigeon Rearguard, a good removal spell, and Troll Chant. We're going to pop off here in the beginning. So, as I like to say with these aggro decks, if you don't know what unit to play on the first turn, just play the one that does the most damage. And that's what we get out of the Legion Rearguard here. Now, that opponent came in and dropped a unit that can kill what we're doing. I wasn't super excited about the round, but he played these cards backwards. We're still building up nicely into next turn. It might have just taken a bit of extra damage. Should have quietest and then played the unit, but see if we can't make our way out of this. Definitely dropping the foyer, not going for a Troll Chant. These units are like a little bit low value in terms of getting stats out of a Troll Chant. So feels a little better keeping this up for the next rounds. And oh, Misfortune doesn't get in front of anyone. We're going to start booming. He's not going to like this. Get out there, Gwen.
This is a chance for me to leave my mark.
Black Market Merchant, you got it. I would assume he's going to attack just to try and boost up the Misfortune, but it's not super exciting for him. You can probably safely block with Gwen. Like, I'll believe that he can deal 1 point of damage. I won't believe that he can deal 2. And then we can just protect her with Troll Chant next turn. Ravenous Flock. I should have known he picked up our 1 copy of Ravenous Flock. I still stand by the play. I think that's pretty strong, but it's a bit of a bummer to have it go that way. A bit of a bummer.
Hey, TF. How's the partner?
Tries to red card. Well, kind of is what it is at this point. So I think we want to lead off with the Redeemed Prodigy, just to spread our stats out a little bit. His most certain want to block unit's going to be the Crimson Pigeon, and so there's no reason to load it up with 1,000 stats just to have him want to block it even more. So we'll spread things out a little bit, let the Prodigy get the big stats, move forward from there. And I know who's ready for some foyer stats next turn. It's going to be this gigantic Darius. Say, I'm ready. Bring it upon me. Here he is. True strength right there. So the question's going to be, are we willing to open attack next turn, right? If we want to... Oh, shit, he's bringing it, huh? He's only going to deal 5 damage to our Darius. He picks up the Pokey Stick off of Gnar, right? But our Darius is going to have 2 health. It's just too risky to not block. I don't want to be falling to 2 against a deck that has, like, Make It Rains and shit in it. Alright. Let's see what we can do here. Decide if we're going to open attack or not. I think our units are just too good. Let's not lead off with the Tusk Speaker. I worry about the Tusk Speaker. That's a sad day. I worry about the Tusk Speaker dealing that point of damage and then us getting killed. So we'll be a little slow with him. Heavy metal. Alright, so if we bring this attack, he definitely has to block our 6 attacker. He'd probably use the Tusk Speaker to do that. Gnar can block, but he doesn't really get compelled to do anything. And then we're not going to threaten lethal. Man, maybe we should have just opened with Darius. Frowns. Frowns. Alright, so as it stands, we're dead. We gotta pick something up. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no, he's gonna get us with the Pokey Stick. It's gonna have us at 1, and so we're not gonna be in a space to where we can get out of this. But man, what a time to draw Decimate. Alright, whatever. That game was tough. I think that Gwen play was 100% spot on. This just isn't a deck that has a way to deal more than 1 point of damage. And for him to pick up if he's going to take cards out of our deck, he can hit Ravenous Flock, he can hit Hate Spike and Nox and Fervor and Shunpo. So there's like 3 cards out of our deck he can hit, and he managed to spike 1. I mean, kind of is what it is. You know, I'll take those odds every time. I think the only thing we could have potentially read into there is, like, if he's trying to get the stats off of Misfortune, then he might only attack with 1 unit instead of 2. And so we might have been able to kind of deduce that something was up based on that. But if there's someone reading into it that way, then congratulations, you're better at this than I am. All right, on to the next one. Somebody not bringing the Spirits Unleashed today. All of our opponents have been bringing it, man. The guy definitely had it last game. All right, brother's got another elite in hand. Let's see how it goes. This should be a fairly tough matchup for us. Elites tends to just have bigger units than we have, so we have to fight a lot of uphill battles to try and have successful combats. So I'm gonna add in the Raider. We pretty much have to open attack on this next turn, right? If he plays a 3/3 that becomes a 3/4, all of our attacks are just dog shit from that point forward. And so I want to make sure that we can get out in front of it a little bit. Now that he's added in this weird stuff, I'm okay with that. Stony Suppressor and the dog. Foyer's not bad. But yeah, see, this is where things become problematic real fast. Our units just aren't big enough to really put dents into these things. And we're going to struggle a bit. And so if we're going to play the Fallen Reckoner next turn, it's going to hit the Stony Suppressor. Let's weaken up some of these other dudes. So now we can play the Reckoner. It will hit the Suppressor. His blocks won't be good on anything that has 3 attack, which is most of our team at this point. And he just plays Garen, right? Why not have it? Why not have it? Whoa, interesting. Right, so we've got our important units all have 3 attack, and then we have the Ghostly Band that's going to die anyways.
Need repairs?
Interesting. Oh boy, it's Ranger's Resolve. Okay. Okay. We'll be struggling. I mean, we do have the stance swap in hand, so we can 1 damage AoE everything, but it's a bit of a bummer. Just a little bit of a bummer, you know? Got this handful of spells as well. What does this thing do? Summon a Dauntless Vanguard and grow its stats. If 9 mana was spent, give your other elites +2/+2. Okay. Okay. I'm convinced. GG. But that's tough. That's one of the reasons I'm a little bit surprised in the current constructed format, in that it has kind of broken down to the rock, paper, scissors style of place, as to where the top decks are your rando control decks, most typically Rise, just because he's popular even though he's shitty. Rise gets smoked by Annie Jin, and then Annie Jin gets completely smoked by elites. But I don't know what the deal with elites is these days. I think people just to me, there's like a couple of things, right? I think there's a bit of fatigue because elites have been good since the release of the game in some way, shape, or form. They fell off a little bit when Scouts was big, but they've always been kind of strong. And then from like the high-end competitive community, there's just this really big like movement to just shit on elites and talk a lot of trash about the strategy and why they don't like it and everything. And I think that the followers of those folks see it and have to be like, oh well, you know, someone that's good at the game said it, I have to believe him. And then it falls down. But Runeterra has always been in this weird space to where the good decks of the format should be like 20-25% of the meta, and then they just don't cross 10%. It's so weird. Anywho, up against the old elites again, some Jarvan and Garen. See if we can't get out in front of his stats this time. We picked up the Spirits Unleashed. That certainly helps a little bit. Him not having Durandi Sculptor also helps. You worthless cretin. Alright. 2 mana unit for a 2 mana unit. We'll take it while we can get it. In Cythria. And so I guess we might as well get the Bark Beast down, right? We're not going to Spirits Unleashed anytime soon. And then we're most certainly going to play Gwen next turn. So might as well get the Bark Beast in action. Okay. All right, let's just draw some cards. So we might be okay here. I mean, we'll have to see how this grinds down. He's only got 2 cards in hand at this point, and our units are just better than his units, and so some opportunity for goodness here. If he has even if he has like a Vanguard Bannerman here, it's not horrible. Barrier's kind of annoying. Okay. We still have pretty good blocks for next turn, though. And that dum-dum. I mean, we can... I'm trying to envision how we kill this. He's just going to take down our Gwen with it, but... do we want to kind of preemptively Spirits Unleashed? Which I think we do. We need to be getting... Like, it doesn't strike me as something that's going to be good post-combat. And so we might as well go ahead and kill the Protector. Lets the Bark Beast trade out with another unit. Looks like we'll take 5 on the turn, and he's going to kill our Gwen and our Bark Beast. That's not terrible. Got the Eternal Dancers ready to kick off next turn. Should be bringing back Gwen if memory serves. I don't think we've had a unit bigger than Gwen. Is that the way we want to go about it? I think we're safe in terms of health, right? Like, we should be able to attack. Gwen will come in. She'll give us +2 health. He's got to throw something in front of the Dancers. And then if, like, things go completely poorly next turn, we should still be able to block with the Eternal Dancers and then Nox and Fervor into something else. So it's like, if we absolutely have to, we should be able to block the Kind-Hearted Recruit with the Hallowed Dancers and then Nox and Fervor into the Vanguard Squire. Okay. Be a bit of a bummer to lose the Hallowed Dancers, though. They're ready to they're ready to pop off with all these sweet cards we have, the Ruined Reckoners and friends. It's got to be you, though, right? It's got to be you. Now this spot gets kind of interesting. We can just Midnight Raid at this point, right? Like, it's very similar to our Eternal Dancers just falling in front of a unit. Oh no, is he gonna have single combat? Oh no, come on. Purify. That's not awesome. It's manageable, but not awesome. So if he attacks, we're still safe here. We can fall to 1. Okay. So we'll send the Nox and Fervor at the Squire. If he attacks with everybody, which he's most certainly going to do, we can put the Ruined Reckoner in front of the Badger Bear. His attack will only take us to 1. We are very close to dead at that point, though. Then I guess the question is, with Katarina in hand, would we rather just go ahead and block the Cythria since we're going to be being able to throw the damage? I don't think so. I think our... Yeah, all of our units are big enough at this point. We can block Fearsomes across the board. It's like, I don't want to get into next turn and have to spend mana on a Blade's Edge and also want to play Stalking Shadows. And so we'll just go the safer route here. Again, like, all of our units are going to be able to block Fearsomes. I think that's okay. Getting close, though. Getting tight. And a Quietus. Hey, do you want to take a Tusk Speaker? Nope. Absolutely not. So the Omen Hawk can come in and block Cythria. That's kind of decent. As far as these other cards go, here's the Pigeon. Play the Katarina and lose out on the Blade's Edge. That's okay. And then I don't think we want to attack. I mean, I guess we could. We're at Hallowed 3. Katarina represents a lethal on Cythria. Okay. We still got our 2 blockers. Now, the thing that I guess the reason we shouldn't have attacked. Like without this attack being a lethal, we should not have come in with an attack here. The problem is like we attack for 6, he takes it, falls to 2, plays a unit, open attacks, and kills us, right? Because the Katarina's going to jump back to hand. This is a real risk. This was a definite mistake. I just like was like, oh yeah, we're easily going to kill his units here, and that's not the case whatsoever. But I do feel a little bit better with this block lined up. I don't know what he's trying to do here with this spell in hand, but if we can line up unit for unit on him, I'll feel much better about this next turn. Here comes. Single combat. Yep. This was on me. Like, as soon as I got it out there, I realized the mistake we made. I don't think we even have any draws left. Yep. Whew. So brutal. Brutal misplay from Old Bust. I'm pretty confident if that game drug on, we would have been okay. Now, it was a bit of a pain point there. I'm not certain why we drew the... I guess Stalking Shadows shuffles cards back into your deck, right? Our deck tracker went away. But I know that when we Stalking Shadows, the Tusk Speaker was in there, which we can't play because we only had 1 health, and then we immediately drew it, which was kind of awkward and odd to me. But we still definitely messed that up. We definitely misplayed it. And I think that we should have been in a spot to where we just had more cards, and we had the Hallowed, we had the Shunpo for getting multiple attacks in. We should have been able to take that game down as time went on. And if Katarina represented a lethal attack, right? If she was going to attack for 8, then it would have been okay. But only attacking for 6, that was just a bit of nonsense. And so we can pull this deck up and talk about it a little bit more. Like, I'm kind of okay with how it went. I'm kind of happy with it. Like, I'm fine that we lost to Elites. I think Elites is a garbage deck in this format, and we won't actually see too much of it. But my problem here was our aggression just like wasn't good enough. I'm not really happy with these early game plays that we were adding to the board. And the concept that I think is like easily aligned with this is, say, like when you're looking at a best of 3 format and you're trying to bring triple aggro, and so you're like, okay, I'm going to bring 3 Legion Rearguard decks, and my 1 Legion Rearguard deck is really good, and my second one is kind of okay. You know, it's not nearly as good as number 1. It's like tier 1.5, and then we have a tier 2 deck as our last thing, and then as we're playing best of 3, opponent has to just ban our best deck, right? And now we aren't actually playing any good decks. We're playing a tier 1.5 deck and a tier 2 deck. And so I think that's how I kind of feel about this, trying to bring aggro decks into Singleton. Is like when we're looking at playing a deck like Aatrox, we're playing a shitload of real high quality cards, right? As you get to play Aatrox, that's just like 25% of your deck is extremely good. Even the weaker equipments are still much better than playing something like, what's your name, Bark Beast or Hapless Aristocrat, right? And so he has that definite like quality of not having to play bad cards, as to where with this, I feel like even if we came in and tuned it a little bit, is this a format to where we really want to be playing something like Precious Pet when we don't have the density of really good 1-drops? And so it's like, if you're playing Precious Pet in Constructed, it's typically because you have the full collection of Rearguards, and then say like a full collection of Jagged Butchers, and then a full collection of another 3-drop or another 1-drop, and then 1-drops number like 10 and 11 are Precious Pet. And it's just, it strikes me as playing a really underwhelming collection of cards, as we're trying to have a decent best of 3 or a decent set of cards across 3 factions. And so I don't like this idea. I think these aggro decks are probably just garbage. But the thing I did like about this was all of the Hallowed units. That's still a exceptionally powerful ability, and I think that it ties nicely into my problem of the format. Not a problem in the sense of I don't like it, but the deck building problem that you run into with this is you have to play a lot of low quality cards, and having access to the Hallowed ability picks up a lot of where you lose out on the card quality. And so while your units may not, oh god, fucking cat claws right into the chest area. But no, as you have to play lower quality cards, it helps make up for that loss of quality by making sure whatever attacks on the left is still a good card. And so I could definitely see that. I like this idea of Gwen Sejuani, like the blue Gwen was always fairly good. Does let us still play Spirits Unleashed, but I don't think Noxus is really where it's at in this format. As much as it pains me to say, I don't think I really want to be playing Noxus unless it's a function of expanding out on Aatrox. And so, not a bad set of games. I had a good time. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.